Good afternoon, everybody. At least it's afternoon when I'm recording this. Don't know what time of day it is when you're seeing it. Welcome to yet another edition of Matthew's Monthly Housing Market Minutes. That's a mouthful. It sounds like most people are getting value out of this, and if you're not, let me know. I'm more than happy to adjust the format. However, they're getting value out of it because it's not canned and bland and vanilla, frankly. There's some character to it. The subject of today's video, or this month's video, is on the fact that right now, from this same time last year, mortgage rates are the lowest that they've been in over 1 year. Around this same time last year, you could get a mortgage interest rate for about 6.5%, and today they're hovering around 6.32%. So the good news is mortgage rates appear to be trending down. However, it's, as we discussed in a previous video, not directly linked to the federal funds rate. So when you hear that the Fed is meeting and they're talking about lowering rates, has nothing to do with mortgage interest rates. It is a correlation to interest rates, but it's not the cause of mortgage interest rates going down. When they lower the Fed rate, that is just the wholesale cost of money. That's what banks pay each other. What truly controls mortgage interest rates, and I've mentioned this before, is the 10-year Treasury yield. The 10-year Treasury yield is what banks get paid and people get paid when they lend money to the government. And the question that a bank asks before they lend money to the government is, well, if I can make 4% guaranteed money from the government, because in theory they always pay their debt, then why would I lend to Matthew Sharp when people like Matthew Sharp don't always pay their debt? So they're higher risk. We're human, we default. We're fallible, per se. So they're going to charge us more. So when the 10-year Treasury goes down, mortgage interest rates go down. When it goes up, because they can make more money from the government by lending them money, then they charge us more money for mortgage rates. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know, and I'll do a 45-hour lesson on it. I kid. It's just very complex. Anyhow, so right now, Treasury yield's been going down pretty consistently, so mortgage rates are down. As I mentioned before, average rate's about 6.32. To give context, in January, it was 7.05, so it's come down by over 0.5%. Now, question is, Matthew, what's that going to do for the housing market? Values are going to go up, right? Incorrect. Values are still declining. Reason being is the trend is your friend. What do I mean by the trend is your friend? I'm glad that you ask. I'll show you. So what I mean by when I say the trend is your friend, you'll see on this chart here, this is showing the average sales price and the average list price. Now, this is the average for the entirety of Manatee and Sarasota County, and I break this down for all of my service area, but the trend is our friend in that regard too. They're all pretty synergistic. The average list price is down considerably from this same time last year, in the year prior, etc. Right now, the average list price is down by 7.3%. What does that mean? It means that sellers are having to list for less to sell their home. The average sales price is down by 6.9% from last year alone. Now, keep in mind, that's compounding. That adds up. So what we're looking at right now is just last 12 months. What we're failing to see, most people, is that values have been going down for relatively close to 3 years now in some aspect. From last month, however, we're still seeing the average list price down and the average sales price down. And last month, it fell by 7.9% alone in 1 month. Now, the trend is our friend. Does that mean values fell by 7% last month? No. It could mean less expensive homes sold. However, it is trending down, as you can see. Why is that? And this is where a lot of people get confused. They think we're very simple-minded as human beings, and that's not an insult. We only remember significant details like interest rates up, values down, interest rates down, values up. What we're failing to notate is that inventory has been extremely high for a very long time. We still have a buyer's market. So all this inventory we have has to sell off, and it has to stay low for a prolonged period of time. Just because inventory drops, like when you go grocery shopping, If all the green beans on the green bean aisle or the canned food aisle are sold out, that doesn't mean that they instantaneously raise the price of the green beans the next time they're restocked. No. No, but if they have a green bean shortage nationwide and nobody can get green beans, then they may increase them because that's inflation. Same thing with homes. A short-term void in inventory, meaning if the inventory we have on the market right now sells off, is not going to automatically cause our values to shoot through the roof. Now, if they stay down for a prolonged period of time and buyer demand increases, that's when values will start to go up. Haven't got to that point yet, and I'll share one more slide with you before I let you go to show you why. So let's share this right here. All right. So it's great that interest rates are down. Lowest point in a year. We can't refute that or dispute that. It is what it is. This more significant takeaway, however, is this information right here. So this is my entire service area. Born and raised here, sell about 100 homes a year in about 8 counties. Just know it like the back of my hand. So I help people where I know their area. That said, what we're looking at is essentially the heartbeat of the market. In the last week, 10,000 new homes went on the market. Okay. 7,600 homes went to contract. So for all those homeowners out there, your friends, your family members, the experts, the guy who owned a couple homes in his lives that wants to tell you how he knows exactly what's going on. 7,600 homes went to contract in the last week in our service area. That means 7,625 buyers said yes to a property. So if that's not buyers still buying and sellers still selling, I don't know what is. Please enlighten me, because I've only sold 5,000 of these things. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just started last night. Now, that's great news. Buyers are still buying. And 5,641 homes sold this past week. So that means 5,641 people said yes to a property at some point in the last 1 to 2 months, and they just closed on it. And then another 7,625 said yes to a property and are under contract right now to close sometime in the next few months. Great news. The problem we have is 10,000 homes went on the market in the last week. So that offsets what went to contract, and it carries over into what sold. So we still have too many homes available and titrating on and off the market. The most significant number here, however, is this number right here, the number of price decreases. So we've got 14,801 price decreases. That doesn't sound right, but price reductions in 8 counties. 14,801 price reductions in 8 counties. I knew I wasn't saying that right. Thanks for pointing that out to me. Anyhow, what does that mean? Well, that means that people are still having to reduce the price of their home to get them to sell because we still have an abundance of inventory. So while mortgage interest rates continue to come down, if they do, because the Fed lowers rates, and then in turn, the Treasury goes down. If that continues to happen, mortgage interest rates will continue to go down. But the last significant takeaway, please carve this in stone. Just because rates go down does not mean our values go up. We have to see what inventory we currently have sell off. And as we can see, based on what we just went over, there's plenty of homes to sell. Those have to sell. Buyer demand has to pick up. And then if it stays that way for 6, 12, 18 months and interest rates continue to go down and find a homeostasis level, then we may see values start to go up, barring any other extenuating circumstances. And we've seen 14,000 price reductions in the last week alone, which means sellers are still, and we know the average sales price went down from last month and it's gone down last year, and the average list price has too. So it will continue this way, at least for the foreseeable future. But the good news is rates have come down. The summary is, though, it just doesn't mean that the values go up. It's too soon to tell, and it could be quite some time. Anyhow, hope that this is actionable for you all and helps. Call me with your questions. We're always here to be your resource of choice in all the Florida Gulf Coast, frankly. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. We'll talk to you next month.